Howdy there. Welcome to the Late Night Freedom Stream. I'm the only one hosting this Saturday because Jacob is off doing some stuff. I don't know what, but yeah, I have the reins of today's episode. So we have quite a few different topics to talk about today that we weren't able to pick up on yesterday. I wanted to first get off onto the big elephant in the room. We've had quite a few hurricanes so far this year, and some very damaging hurricanes at that. One of the hurricanes was, I can't remember the name of it, but there was one that just absolutely wrecked North Carolina, absolutely wrecked several areas throughout the side of the country, and FEMA has just not been doing anything about it. I have heard several people say that FEMA has just refused to do anything about the hurricane, that there's been people that have tried to bring humanitarian help to the disaster zone. And FEMA, they're being blocked by police officers, but we'll get into that here. I have a Libs of TikTok post here talking about one of our issues. So Libs of TikTok posted this. In case you're wondering why the FEMA response to the hurricane was terrible, this was a training for FEMA employees. It states that the U.S. was founded on white supremacy and is ingrained in every institution. This is what FEMA is focusing on with tax dollars. We have this this document here that it looks like it supposedly is a FEMA employee training guide for their employees, telling them that if you're white, you're bad. Why start with white supremacy and race? White supremacy is an ideology, a pattern of values and beliefs that are ingrained in nearly every system and institution in the U.S. It is a belief that to be white is to be human and invested with inalienable universal rights, and that to not be white means you are less than human, a disposable object for others to abuse and misuse. The white Christian male is the standard default setting in society. Race intersects all other dimensions of diversity. So off at the start, here we already got a bunch of absolute lunacy here. Just pure falsehoods. I mean, this is a problem with workplaces now that have a lot of government funding too, like especially with government funded workplaces, is that they're having all these diversity trainings that are saying white supremacy is an ideology, that if you're born white, you're a bad person simply because you're white. You're privileged. You have a pre-existing sense of privilege. I haven't watched the movie yet, but I've heard a lot of good things about the movie Am I Racist? And I know Jacob saw it with his friends. I really want to see it sometime, but it really dissects, from what I've heard, the issues with the argument that white men rule the country. Because if you didn't know, I'll actually look this up. The most majority race in America. And as you can see, white people make up 57.8% of the population from a 2020 poll. So the other group of people are non-white people. So it's about a 50-50 split. To say that we are like the default majority in America is an absolutely insane statement to make. In a lot of states, they aren't even the majority. I mean, if we're going by a state-by-state basis, there are states that are like pretty much like a good portion black. So to make the claim that, white supremacy is the default in America, that everybody, here is white and that they're the majority, that's wrong. Because it's a 50-50 split between black and or white and non-white. But we have, let me see. But the Libs of TikTok post here, the uncomfortable truth: the United States was established and rooted in extreme, extraordinary violence, murder, theft of land, resources, sexual assault, and the systematic oppression of people of color, the indigenous, poor whites, immigrants, etc. The established economic justice and social systems all require subjugation of certain groups. That's just wrong. It's wrong on a lot of levels. A lot of people have this sense that America is still stuck with colonial beliefs, but I think we've ditched most of that. And not just that, but all this blabber that America is stuck in that all of our racist past, I mean, slavery was bad. Okay, everybody agrees that slavery was bad, but we don't own slaves anymore. Segregation is no more. Like, we're living quite literally in the best era for Black Americans right now. And it's, for some reason, they still don't see that. And why is that? Because whenever you get a college degree and waste hundreds of thousands of dollars on a college degree, these little Poindexters that are trying to explain to you why white people are naturally born racist and have privilege, they studied in college for this. And I mean, I don't see what the end goal is, but I think it's just to create dialogue. I think it's just to create dialogue. In all honesty, I don't think that this is at all, relevant anymore. I think saying that white people have privilege is a ridiculous and ludicrous statement. But, that's just me. I don't know. But obviously with FEMA on this, training them to, be less white and be less racist in their whiteness is not the best thing to have people trained whenever there's an active hurricane that has just destroyed, a good portion of Florida and North Carolina. People are deserted right now. But it's not only that, but I saw this from Laura Loomer. FEMA is blocking delivery trucks from delivering supplies in North Carolina. Trucks from Florida were ordered to turn around. A follower of mine says a company her husband worked for sent 60 trucks to help in North Carolina, and all of them were denied access to help, and they were ordered to turn around and blocked from entering it in a blockade. So I've heard this everywhere, that the police there, the police in North Carolina, FEMA North Carolina, they've been blocking humanitarian help from other states, people that are trying to deliver supplies to the state, and they're blocking them. Why? Who knows? Who really knows? I mean, if you're a conspiracy theorist, I'm sure you'll come up with some ideas as to why this is happening. But and that's not only the only testimony on it. There's video proof North Carolina Hurricane Helene victims' aid being blocked. So these people are sitting here at Chimney Rock, one of the people that lost their homes here, and they won't even let him in.
So these people are sitting here at Chimney Rock, and they will not allow people to come in unless they live here, which is bullshit. We just talked to one of the people that lost their homes here, and they won't even let him in. So these people.
Yeah, and I also saw this video of this army dude saying that the military won't even let him go home to his family to go find his dead kids from the hurricane, and that he's being forced to go fight in Israel, which we will get into Israel later, simply because if you don't know, this all happened like right after a big event in Israel happened, but or like happened around the same time. So people were being drafted to Israel, while this was happening. And, that's got to be awful, being a soldier and being forced to go fight in a forever war that has nothing to do with you, has nothing to do with your country, while your dead kids are sitting in rubble in the middle of nowhere. That's awful. But here's another video. The feds hate when we do this. Feds do not want a free and independent population getting shit done on their own. That's why we keep hearing about FEMA confiscating supply donations and blocking aid across North Carolina / Tennessee. Watch this clip of Christian Rangers conducting a mission brief in Asheville, North Carolina. This is what happens when you train men and women to go to war for 2 decades and they get cut loose on home turf. You can tell this guy has been to war, and if you know anything about Army Rangers, you know this guy has been there, done that. If you do not have a group or community network like this in your local area, the time to find one is now.
So go back to Asheville or something like that, right? They're not even allowed to have guns. They're not even on order right now, right? And they requested us to secure them, right? So that's an ongoing thing. We've been doing it for 2 days now. We're going to continue to do it. That's the right thing to do, okay? I don't have a current mission to do that right now because they're on their way back, but I will. That's what we're going to do. We're going to help those guys, okay? In addition to that, we're supporting the EMA, right? And that's the coordinations I have daily. Following this, I got to go back over there. So we are acting on behalf of the sheriff and the fire chief, right? So we can do our thing. We're free civilians, right? But we are trying to tie this into the populace because that's our whole mission here is to help the populace. The feds, welcome, okay? We're integrating with medical facilities, right? When needed. We have a lot of medical expertise here, and I want to flex you guys to be able to do that, to help where needed. If you have medical expertise, I can tie you in to do a job.
Yeah, there's a lot of people going out there trying to help out this state, and it's just awful. I actually saw like 9 electrical trucks coming back from the hurricane zone recently on US 60, and I think I saw a few FEMA trucks too. But it's just absolutely disgusting what's happening to these communities that are torn apart by this hurricane, and nothing's being done. Nothing's being done by our federal government. Where did all the FEMA money go? Everybody's being given. I've seen reports too that people in the area are being given $750, and they like it's not the $750 is not even like a gift or like a help. It's a loan. The government is loaning people money, $750, and saying you have to pay us back. It's gonna, you're gonna have to pay us back by next tax season. That's disgusting. That's disgusting that that's happening right now. But our president candidate, Kamala Harris, Crooked Kamala, she's what is she doing during all this? She is going on a podcast called Call Her Daddy, a podcast on women's sexual relationships. So we have here, Harris goes on a Call Her Daddy, a podcast on women's sexual relationships while hurricane victims' bodies are being located in America. Americans are enduring unimaginable tragedy. This woman is not fit to be president. And in my opinion, no woman's fit to be president, but let's watch this.
Welcome to Call Her Daddy.
It is good to be with you.
Thank you so much for being here.
Of course.
We're in the final stretch of the election.
Yes.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great.
Welcome to Call Her Daddy.
So that was a little bit of that. So from what I gathered, I watched a Matt Walsh video on this, but Call Her Daddy is some sex freak podcast where women talk about how to have sex and use their sexualities as weapons against men, and like this is all real. Like I feel like it definitely, like recently I felt like we were living in 2016 again, and that's because everything that happened in 2016 is like repeating. Like, I mean, we have these SJWs like the Call Her Daddy podcast that are getting the literal female president candidate for this year to go on a podcast called Call Her Daddy, where young women talk about how to use your bodies, or young women guide other young women on how to use your bodies as weapons against men. That's insane, don't you think? And News Nation did the comical putting that in her media blitz. If you don't know, Kamala's barely done any interviews, but she's just now starting to really get into interviews recently. She went on the Call Her Daddy podcast, 60 Minutes, The View, The Howard Stern Show. Obviously she's going to go on all of the shows that are going to absolutely just love her. The View, like the late show with Stephen Colbert, Univision, Town Hall. All these shows are government shills, are Marxist shills, and that's that. And I wanted to find more about Call Her Daddy, but genuinely every single clip from that is like, incredibly gross and weird. Like, it's incredibly inappropriate. So I'm not going to play any of it or much of it, but it's very disgusting that our president, or the woman that is trying to run for president, is going on sex podcasts while people are dying in this hurricane. That's awful. That's awful. But it's fine because we already used up all the FEMA money for the migrants, so we could give them Greyhound buses and take them up to Springfield, Ohio, and But I mean, if this isn't a perfect advertisement to not vote for Kamala, I don't know what is. I mean, it's obvious. It's obvious. So I was talking a little bit earlier about Israel. Something very interesting happened in Israel. Iran rained down several hypersonic missiles on Israel recently. That's why a lot of people have been going back to war in America, because Israel's being attacked again, like pretty substantially. I think Israel and Iran have like officially declared war or something. But here's what we have. And this happened a few days ago. It happened on October 1st. And yeah, Iran rained missiles down on Israel recently, and it's just the global tensions are getting higher, and I don't think. And to tie this back in with Kamala Harris, I don't think we need a woman running the war, because you have to remember the most important thing about a president is that they are the commander-in-chief of the military. And as commander-in-chief, I don't think we should have a woman as a commander-in-chief, especially when world tensions are this high. We have, I'm pretty sure Iran has nuclear weapons. I know Israel does have nuclear weapons, but Iran might have nuclear weapons. And whenever tensions are this high, I mean, it's something's going to happen real soon. Something's going to happen real soon, and we really don't need Kamala as president. We honestly should not even have the president that we have right now in office, because the global situation right now is so tense. We have Ukraine and Russia fighting. We have China at our necks. Russia is I think engaging, or is getting onto us for engaging in nuclear test, or they're engaging with someone. Russia and Ukraine are fighting. Israel and Palestine, and now Iran are fighting each other. This is like a world war, and we can't let our commander-in-chief be a complete idiot. And I saw this today too. This is kind of funny. And like more lighthearted news, we have a report that Trump reportedly called Kamala Harris retarded in front of Republican donors at a private fundraiser, according to the New York Times. I mean, that's just great. I mean, I feel like Trump in the background says a lot of really funny stuff. I feel like if you got to know him, it would just be like the most funniest thing, like the most funniest conversations. Like for a while now, people have been saying that Trump calls his enemies retarded and stuff like that, which is just awesome. But another topic that I wanted to get into is Amendment 3. I was brought this up by a few people that I know. Now, I've heard that Amendment 3 ads were being published throughout Missouri. I have not been able to find any, but I've heard that they are extremely manipulative. A while back, we actually looked at some of the manipulative marketing and propaganda for abortion. We had this one ad of this lady in a car being driven really fast. Let me actually find this real quick, because this is comically weird. Abortion ad. Let me find this.
Well, now is the time, and with Super Tuesday coming up next week, Governor Gavin Newsom is launching national ads.
Governor Newsom accuses conservative leaders of holding women hostage.
Trump Republicans want to criminalize young women who travel to receive the reproductive care they need.
The ad will first air in
Yeah. So quite literally depicting that conservatives and Republicans are quite literally holding women hostage and forcing them to have babies. Hey, ain't nobody forcing you to have a baby, okay? You can just not have sex. That's the funniest thing about this, is that every single time I see this happening, or the discussion around it, they say, I don't want conservatives forcing me to have a baby. But nobody's forcing you to have a baby. Nobody is forcing you. You quite literally made a very dumb decision if you don't want a child, and you are now pregnant because you didn't wear a condom, or your partner didn't wear a condom, and now you got to live with that. You can't just kill the baby. That's a living thing inside of you, and you could say it's a clump of cells, but here's an idea, Einstein. Humans are clumps of cells. We're all clumps of cells. If you look down onto it, every single detail about us is cells. We're all cells. You can't make the argument that it's just a clump of cells whenever we are quite literally just a clump of cells. And that's such a secular and loser way to describe it, because to say that a little fetus, a little baby, I've heard stories of families that first hear about the pregnancy test and first see the results, and they're absolutely happy. Like, they're crying, they're happy because they're going to have a child. They're going to birth life into this world. And to be such a materialistic loser that thinks that that little thing inside of you that is growing and being knit by God himself inside of you, that will one day be, who knows, a doctor, something, have their own life, and you're just to say, oh, well, it's just a clump of cells. You're an idiot. You're a gigantic idiot. You're the biggest idiot around. And I wanted to bring this up. I do understand that, in the case of, and this is my personal opinion on the matter, I feel like if a woman is raped, then the abortion's okay. I think within a certain time frame, an abortion's okay. I don't think any conservative is saying that you can't have, an early stage termination, or plan B or plan C. I'm going to be honest. I don't think either of those are bad. And I think when it's late stage, that's probably that's whenever it gets extremely morally gray, because that's a little baby inside of you. And we also, I feel like it's a very complex issue. It's kind of like my opinions on food stamps. I feel like we need to be extremely strict about it. I think if you're raped, then you should be allowed to have an abortion. I feel like if it's early on, and it's a young kid, it's a teenager, it's a minor, you should be allowed to have an abortion. And that's just my personal opinion on it. I don't think teenagers or people under the age of 18 should be allowed to have an abortion. I don't think women that have literally, there's been stories of women that literally have had to birth dead babies that lived inside of them forever because they couldn't get an abortion because it was illegal. I think if your baby is already dead inside of you, or the baby is going to die if it gets birthed, there's no way it can survive, or if you were raped, or if you were, what was the last thing I made? If you're raped, if you were, I'm drawing a blank, but I think that there are, situations where an abortion can be morally acceptable. But that's really a decision up to the mother. And I especially think that parents should have a consent within an abortion. If a teenager gets pregnant, I do think that the parents might need to have more consent with it. But that's just me. I don't think kids should be allowed to go to a doctor and have, a procedure done on them without parental consent? What if the mother dies during the abortion procedure? That's just my opinion. I think a good parent, of a young daughter that got stupid and did some stuff stupid and had a pregnancy, I think that's fine. I think a good parent would say that I would like this baby to be aborted because I don't want my teenage daughter to have a kid. And as heartbreaking as it is, to have a little egg that has been fertilized inside of you that could quite literally birth life, it's very sad. It's very heartbreaking to think about. And I totally see how this situation is heartbreaking and very emotionally wrenching. But to see people just being so dumbfounded about it and being so dumb about the way that they're going about supporting this disgusting practice is just insane. I also saw recently, this is a little bit of a joke, but I can't find the article anywhere, but I saw an article of the Satanic Temple making it now a ritual to have an abortion. So saying the quiet part out loud, saying that abortions are satanic or a satanic ritual. They quite literally made it a ritual now. I'll try to find it, the article. But Satanic Temple abortion. They made it a ritual, so then it constitutes under the practice of religion to have an abortion, which is just absolutely insane. Let me see. Oh, I can't really. I think I see it. I think I found it. Here it is. How the Satanic Temple is using abortion rituals to claim religious liberty against the Texas heartbeat bill. So we quite literally have a bunch of Satan worshipers saying that, abortion's a ritual. It's a satanic ritual now. Like, how does this happen? How do they literally write the jokes for us like this? This is insane. But obviously it got overturned, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure the government was like, yeah, that's not how it works. You can't kill a baby in order to make it a ritual. Because keep in mind, this is the heartbeat bill. The heartbeat bill says that you can't have an abortion, I believe, whenever the baby starts having a heartbeat or at like a certain time frame. So they're quite literally doing all of this to say that to let their followers have an abortion whenever the baby has a heartbeat inside the woman's stomach. That is insane. That is crazy. Anyways, to get back into the Amendment 3 stuff, this is actually going to be a decision for Missourians this election season. You're going to have to make a decision between Amendment 3, which says Amendment 3, I'm just going to read off this detailed facts on it. Number 1, it puts women at risk. Healthcare professionals are not necessarily doctors. A medical doctor would not be required to approve or perform any abortions. A healthcare professional in Missouri includes nurses, pharmacists, physician assistants, and dental hygienists. Could you imagine going to the dentist's office and getting an abortion? It's insane. Number 2, prohibit any regulation of abortion. Amendment 3 would invalidate any existing laws and prohibit new laws that voters on both sides of the abortion issue support, including health and safety laws that protect women. Number 3, it would shield negligent healthcare professionals. Amendment 3 prohibits any person from being penalized or prosecuted, regardless of the outcome of actions associated with reproductive health. A healthcare professional could be directly responsible for the harm or death of a woman during an abortion, or the harm or death of an unwanted child during delivery, and not be held liable for their actions. Women and families would not be allowed to sue the negligent person or organization, nor could the government prosecute them. 4, it would permit abortion even when the preborn child can feel pain. Amendment 3 allows abortions for any reason before viability, defined in the amendment as a fetus being able to sustain life outside the womb without extraordinary medical measures. A preborn child can survive outside the womb at 22 to 24 weeks of pregnancy, approximately 6 months, science has shown that a preborn child can feel pain as nearly as 12 weeks. So, yeah, that's disgusting. Number 5, Amendment 3 will eliminate parental notification or consent. Amendment 3 would invalidate the current law that requires parental notifications and consent for a minor to have an abortion. Number 6, Amendment 3 would allow abortion at any time for any reason. Amendment 3 will allow abortions for any physical or mental health reasons. This even allows post-viability, extremely late-term abortions for treatable temporary health concerns. Emotional health would justify an abortion when a child could survive outside the womb. And number 7, it would open the door to taxpayer-funded abortions. Should Amendment 3 be enshrined in the Missouri Constitution, well-funded out-of-state groups could sue Missouri to force taxpayer funding of abortions, which is already occurring in Michigan. So, yeah, don't vote no on Amendment 3. Bad thing. This is really bad. I just think that we need to make sure that we know exactly what we are voting for this election, because this is very serious. I've been hearing a lot about Amendment 3, and I think that it's very important that we don't fumble the bag with this. Another thing that I saw recently was that Springfield and Park Central Square, let me find this, if I can find it, they're having a rally for abortion recently, or women's rights, you know. Let me find this real quick. Women's rally in Springfield, Missouri. I can't remember where I saw this. I think it's in my messages with Jacob, actually. There we go. So this is also something that is happening in Springfield. We've already shown you that Springfield is quite liberal, and there's all kinds of organizations and events happening in Springfield right now that are supporting liberal ideology and woke ideology. You know, we have the Party for Socialism and Liberation supporting the Palestine protests. We have the Glow Center, you know, transgender stuff on children. Which Jacob last episode talked about the number of kids that have undergone transgender surgeries and puberty blockers this year. So that's a very interesting episode. I highly recommend watching it. But we have this one, Rally for Our Rights, time to reclaim our reproductive rights with live music and guest speakers. It is happening on November 2nd at 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. at Park Central Square, downtown Springfield, Missouri. We're not going back. If you can't attend, please remember to vote yes on Amendment 3. So that's insane. I do want to try to go to it and do a little bit of trolling and do a little bit of on-the-ground coverage like we used to do, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens, and I really hope that we can do some fun stuff with that. Another thing that I see here, and this is going to be our last topic, and this is a very interesting one too. So we have a October surprise, I guess. I heard about this recently, that something was going to come out about Tim Walz being a pedophile, and I just want everyone to know before we go into this, you can't believe everything that you hear. Okay, this could very much be wrong because there's not much substantial evidence for it. But I still want to say it because this, like, I quite literally saw a post on Telegram recently that this is going to happen, that an October surprise is going to happen, and Tim Walz is going to be leaked out as a pedophile. But it's the poster that did the October surprise kind of did it in a weird way, and I don't know if I believe it or not. I mean, Tim Walz is a creep that wants tampons in boys' bathrooms in school. So I wouldn't put it past him. But I actually want to read through this. Tim Walz, this is from an original post today. Tim Walz, all Donald Trump and J.D. Vance know about manufacturing is how to manufacture bullshit. Wow, Mr. Vice President. That's some bad language you're using there. But we have this guy on X2. Black Insurrectionist says, okay, Tim, I guess now would be a good time to drop my October surprise. You remember him, right? The real reason you walked away from teaching, the kid who spent the night at your home, the one you went to the gay bar with, the reason the school board had a meeting about you. What do you think, Tim? Should I drop that now or should I wait another week or so? You know, the student you were having sex with, the male student you were having sex with, they didn't call you Touchdown Timmy because you were the football coach. Oh, wait, you lied about that also. You were the assistant coach. What do you think, Tim? You remember the Indigo Girls concert, right? The gay bar spending the night, and of course, the school board meeting. Think it is time, Tim? Touchdown Timmy, you were touchy, all right. Obviously, you have to take it with a grain of salt because I don't know whether or not this is true or not. They don't give us any evidence, and it's kind of wrote as a schizo post, but I did hear that this was planned and that this was going to happen from other sources. But we have from AJ Huber, the 1st of October surprise CCP agent Tim Walz, aka Touchdown Timmy, is a pedophile. Tim Walz has sexually assaulted a high school child during his time as a high school football coach. The claim suggests Walz took this high school kid to a gay bar and engaged in inappropriate behavior while the kid spent the night at his house. Tampon Tim, no guarantee of free speech. Tim Walz equals national security threat. I don't know if I believe much of any of this, but I'm guessing that this is, I don't know, it looks pretty weird. It looks like an AI picture, but I believe that this is Tim Walz, and this is perhaps the student.
I think we need to.
The student that was raped, or I don't know. Gifts from China. Tim Walz holds a fan that was one of the gifts he received while spending about 10 months this past year teaching school in China. The watercolor of the apartment complex where he lived was another gift. The fan incidentally contains a poem written by the widow of Sun Yat-sen, one of the founders of the New China in 19. Yeah, this is a kind of like a schizo post, honestly. I'm going to tell everybody, don't believe everything on this, but it could very much be real.
I think we need to push back on this. There's no guarantee to free speech on misinformation or hate speech, and especially around our democracy.
Yeah, well, if you didn't, I mean, every conservative now should know that Tim Walz is a complete goofball and a complete idiot. But I don't know if I believe this October surprise. I remember the last October surprise was on Trump, and it was the locker room talk audio. And then I think Pizzagate was a part of it too, but it wasn't like that big. But I have a feeling that this is in the same gate, in the same ballpark as the Pizzagate stuff, because it just seems schizophrenic. Like, it doesn't seem true. And here's the original post, by the way. It's still up. Milo Yiannopoulos is asking him to DM him. He's been, if you don't know, Milo's been trying to make a comeback recently as a straight guy, which is really funny. Yeah, here's our absolute king right here. I know people who love this dude, but he's just insane. But yeah, this is a very interesting October surprise, I guess. It's not really groundbreaking or anything, but I don't know. Anyways, I think that to conclude this episode, election's coming real soon. We only have so much time left until something's going to happen. We only have so many days left until the election, and literally anything could happen right now. Like, there could be something dropped next week, and we're going to try to keep up with that. I feel like the news is going to be crazy for the next few weeks, but we are less than a month away from election day, and it is your job as an American to get out and vote and make sure that you vote for the proper person. And I would hope that is Trump, and I hope that you would vote no on Amendment 3, and I hope that you would vote against all the woke ideology stuff in your local government. But I can't really change people's mind on that. I can just display the facts, and the facts of the matter is that cultural Marxism is destroying the very fabric of our country. So it's very important that you get out and vote. Don't just sit this election out. Don't stop being a lazy piece of shit and get out and vote. It's not that hard. Please get out and vote. But other than that, that's all I have for today's episode. We're kept it very short and very weird because there's not much to talk about this week. And not only that, but Jacob's gone, so I don't really have much of anything else to talk about other than talk to myself and talk to imaginary people on the computer. So I'm just going to end this episode off here. Thank you for watching Late Night Freedom Stream. We will try to be back Wednesday, but we will for sure be back Saturday with another episode. Thank you for watching.
And as much as you want to put them in our jails, they were probably sent here so that we put them in our jails. Because to put them in our jails, they didn't pay the electric bill. To put them, oh, I like that much better. Oh. Oh, that's so much better. Those lights were brutal. They come from the dishonest press? Where? Oh, don't turn them on. Forget it. Better, right? Don't turn them on. Don't turn the lights on, plus we save on electricity, right? And because the lights didn't work, I won't pay the rent, so we get better lighting and we don't pay the rent, right? Right? No, get those lights off. Off! Turn them off, they're too bright, turn them off. Turn them off, let's go, ready? Turn off the lights. Turn off the lights. Turn off the lights. Turn them off. So much nicer. No, that's the way we have to negotiate for our country.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here, and then click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.